what do we have?
So welcome to our webinar number 5, is it?
Not sure. Yeah, it could be 5. Definitely. If you can you guys actually see it clearly now, or is it like blur, or everything is fine?
It's clear for me.
Oh. Yes, it is.
Good. So since you're in Geneva, the timing is good for you.
Yeah, timing is perfect.
Yeah. Good. I mean, I'm watching whether some other people trying to come in here at the same time. So because I can basically see it here, but it's like not very clear. But actually, I think anyone can just join, so they should be just coming in. So we actually have done a couple of things here, or Dion has done it actually. And I think that's the first thing you wanted to show, Dion, right? You are now.
Okay, good. So last time we did a few things with fundamental data. I kind of wrapped that together in a strategy. So I can quickly show that, and then I'll turn it back over to Volker. So what I'm doing here is using that fundamental indicator that we drag and dropped over last time in a C# coded strategy. So I am creating an instance of the fundamental indicator, and I'm pulling in short interest. So when you create this in C#, you have to pass it a couple of parameters, the bar history that you want it run on, the name of the fundamental item, and whether or not you want the data to carry forward. That means if you pass false here, you'll get a time series with only one data point whenever that item is registered, and everything else will be nan, not a number. If you say true, you'll get that data point, and that data point will carry forward, which is what I want in this case because I'm going to use this in a calculation. The second fundamental indicator, I am pulling in shares outstanding. Now remember last time we had a difference in the units, and then Michael correctly identified that we would need to multiply the shares outstanding by 1 million to get the correct number of units for that. So I'm creating a new time series, which I define down here below like normal. And it's called short as %. So it's the short interest divided by the shares outstanding times 1 million. And then I'm multiplying it by 100 just to show it as a percent. So if it's 1% instead of being 0.01, it'll just show it as 1. So that's why I'm multiplying it by 100, and then I'm plotting it. So that's the first thing I'm creating. The second is a days till cover. So I'm calculating it by taking the short interest and dividing it by a moving average of the volume. And so I picked 20 as my period for my volume moving average. That's 1 month of data roughly. I guess you could put in whatever period you find appropriate, but I thought 20 would be good. I'm not sure if there's a standard for that, Michael. Do you know if there's a standard?
I think it may be 1 month, so you probably spot on.
Okay, good.
20.
So let's run this on a stock. Let's say Tesla. We'll click run and see what happens here. So we go to the chart and we see our 2 lines drawn. Let me move this over here. So here's the short interest as a % of shares with a correctly calculated number of units. So I mean, it looks like it goes in the range of a couple of percent. So here it's 2.5%, goes down to 2. So we can view a bit more data here. So here we have short interest as a % of the shares. And then down below we have the days till cover. So that's short interest divided by the average volume. So this is kind of packaging what we talked about a little last week. I'll post this code on our forum, I guess, so people can download it and, you know, use it for whatever, or use it as the basis for something else. What do you think,
Very
Michael?
nice. Yeah, no, very nice. Did you want, I mean, I don't know, has there been any improvement on GME or AMC?
No, we can't get those two because we're unable to get the short
Data.
interest from the NASDAQ provider. I didn't double check. They could be NASDAQ stocks or they could be NYSE stocks, but for whatever reason, that data is not coming in using our NASDAQ event provider. But we can try a couple other NASDAQ stocks. We should get data for any NASDAQ stock, basically. So yeah, we've got Apple.
I think maybe you want to try Netflix.
So yeah, we've got Netflix. So Netflix, interesting. We have a little bit higher number here. It goes up to actually 4, and then it starts going down as people, let's see, short interest as a percent of shares outstanding. So the short interest is actually going up here. And yeah, this curve is now.
Yeah, because of the gap down, right?
Yeah.
In January. So once that happens, people start showing.
But all these numbers are delayed, right? They come in delayed, or are they coming?
These are daily numbers, aren't they?
Yeah, this is daily, but we talked about last week whether those items get reported and then you know, it could be they could be published a couple of days after the fact. I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, it is possible.
Yeah, I think it's there's a minimum requirement of once a quarter. Then other, some brokers may decide to publish more regularly. But yeah, it's not. I mean.
So yeah, I'll post this on the forum, and
very nice.
Yeah, people can download that, and I will stop sharing and then give it back over to Volker.
What do you see?
I see the evolver.
Oh, already. Wait, sometimes this menu bar is in the way, so maybe I'll put it here. You see the evolver, good. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, so here's the evolver, and this is really interesting because I think Robert created some strategies here with the evolver. Did we post it, Dion?
Yeah, we covered that a couple webinars ago, his infamous evolver strategy. Yeah.
Something that I realized, Dion, and you might know why, because this PriceGrid, I created actually a strategy from the PriceGrid, which was actually quite good. And it suddenly became part of that strategies.
The evolver has a number of genes. So if you click preferences, and then if you go to the evolver preferences tab, you could see all of the genes, and one of the genes there is PriceGrid. And that comes from our chart patterns extension.
Okay.
So the chart patterns extension, in addition to all of the great things that you get, it also gives you a new gene that plugs into the evolver. So these evolver genes are, like many other things in WealthLab, plug and play, extendable. So our extensions can and do inject new genes into the evolver.
Yeah, and that, I mean, besides the fact that I think the PriceGrid is deserves a patent, because I always consider it as just like a face recognition kind of thing, because that's how it looked to me. Like, this is the face, and what happens with this face? If someone looks like this, what does happen? So I really like it. So I realized, so we're still in the preferences, so I take this away. And where am I now? Not in the evolver anymore, huh? Where is the evolver here? Yeah, so it actually appeared here. And the interesting thing about it, and Michael, you might know, there's really not more people coming, amazing, is that it actually finds the best combination. Dion, can I bring it more to the top? Is that what I can do?
No,
Or,
these are just randomly generated strategies.
okay.
So this is what the evolver will start off with. Every time you open the evolver, it just generates some random strategies as a starting point. So that's what you're seeing.
Okay, so it's no way, but I could delete some of them.
I think you can, yeah. You should be able to delete some, yeah.
Yeah, so because then I wanted to see what impact it has. Well, let's go and start it actually. So, and you can probably explain what it's doing right now. I took the Dow 30 stocks and yeah, it actually said can you see this? It
Yep.
says I'm using quite some resources right now.
Oh yeah.
So I might lose the either the video or the sound. So
yeah, the evolver runs all of these strategies, back tests in parallel, so it'll max out your CPU typically. So you just completed one generation. So what it did is it ran all of those strategies on the Dow 30. You have it set up to run daily, 10 years. So it ran all of those back tests. It's then sorting, and you're evolving for the highest APR. So it's sorting by APR, and it's keeping the best performers, and then it's creating alternate versions of them. It's mutating them for the next generation. So it's changing them slightly in some way, and then it's running again. It's running a whole other generation. So it's keeping the best ones. It's throwing out the worst performers. It's mutating the best ones, creating variations, and it's going to keep doing that generation over generation until you stop it, or until we create a new build that will automatically stop it after a certain point. But right now it just keeps going forever, or until your computer melts down.
yeah. And you were already coming in digital, so
I have some specific questions whenever we get a chance.
Sure.
About the evolver here, or
yeah.
Okay, in that case, I better start.
Yeah, why don't you stop it? You could always resume it. So when you press stop, it will complete the current generation that it's working on, which is generation 4. We can see on the bottom. So it'll complete running out this generation, and then it'll stop after that's done.
Yeah, because I was quite amazed to see that, and I don't know whether I can click it now, whether I'm not confusing it. But it was using the second best strategy right now, before generation 4 comes out. It was using that PriceGrid T1, which was an interesting, I was like basically watching the market going down and then going sideways, and I dragged this PriceGrid in, and it saying, so I want to know whether this is a good way to get in.
So
and
Volker,
sure
can you
enough,
show us how you did that? That might be interesting for people to see.
Yep, I can do that. It's extensions, and I did this one here. 1 second. No, this is the. No, that's not the one. It was this one. Not this one. It goes back here. Where are we now? Data manager. Strategy evolver. Where is it? Here it is. So what I was doing is basically I was saying, this is exact. I mean, it hasn't changed a lot. The market. I was basically going here and saying, so what is my grid that I wanna see? And I was going here and I was saying, okay, so if the market goes down, I wasn't using this one. Which one did I use? I should be using this one.
So do you want to do that drag and drop now? Where
Yeah,
you're,
here it is. Yeah.
so
I wanted to select it. I was going here, select the chart area that defines the pattern then, and basically say, so this is the one. And I was going up until here because I did it before the weekend. So, and I stop here because that's basically what it was. It was basically going down and it was going sideways.
So let me quickly explain what it's doing. When you select that area of the chart, what it does is it creates a grid based on the dimensions that you set up there. So it's 27 points wide and 20 points high. And it's looking at all of the bars of data in that range. And it's, if there was some data within that bar, it'll put a little dot in that point. So it's visually just creating this grid of whatever data you selected. Now that you have it in the price grid, we have an indicator that's also in the chart patterns extension called PriceGrid CF, or confidence factor. And that's that purple line on the bottom. So what this purple line is telling you is how close is the current price range to the image in that price grid. And of course, at the end of the bar, it's 100 because that's where you defined it. So it's exactly that. But you can now go through the whole history and see where, how close it is in any other point in time to that price.
Yeah, and that's the interesting part, because I mean, here it is, no, it's not yet. Now it is above 80. So this price here, this area here, is 80% the same as it was when I selected it. And I mean, it kind of seems to be right. It goes down and then it goes sideways, and then it was so easy to create a strategy out of it. And for me, it's like a face recognition kind of thing. These are the dots I'm looking at, and I just look at the chart and see when does it repeat itself, and it repeats itself over here again, where the percentage basically was above 80%, which I actually put in my strategy. So it's really cool because you can basically have this area and have it as a pattern. It's great. It's just
so
great.
You can now save it. You can click Save As.
Yeah, and I give it I call it T3 because that makes it easier for me. And I could then, and that was of course for me that was the best part. I go here, I say a new building block, and I say buy at market, and then I go here down to PriceGrid. Is that chart pattern? I go PriceGrids, I drag it in, and I pick which one I wanted to take. I take T3 that we just created, and I say it has to have a confidence level of 80% roughly. Then there's Diego. Hi, Diego. So it has 80%. And what I did is I said sell at profit target. I take away this one. I was just making it up to have a quick run. I was just I just think this is amazing. I tested it on the NASDAQ 100, and we can leave it as it is right now. I think it should be fairly quick. And then you see this price grid is basically, and we wanted to talk about the evolver, I know, but this price grid, I just think is great because it really gives you.
Yeah, I think since you showed an evolver that had that price grid gene in there, it makes sense to kind of show where that came from quickly. So
yeah. So I mean, it's one thing. My computer is a laptop and it's not very fast, but it'll run here, and then it shows you the result. And you didn't have to code this whole pattern. It was just a drag and drop. And I just think this is really extremely, extremely powerful. And here's the result. Let's take a look. here's the result. The drawdown curve is mediocre in compared to everyone else here, and compared to the Qs I think I'm using. And the equity curve is actually nearly nice. And I have to check what my setting is. I use 2%. And what I usually do is I check other markets as well to see whether I'm just found a,
Can we quickly see one of the trades on the chart?
Yeah, we can see that. We go to positions and positions on top. And then let's see whether we have one that this one was just entered a few days ago or this weekend. So here we are. This is the one. It had a confident level over 80 and was buying here. And I mean, just look at it. It looks nearly exactly like the Qs when we created that pattern. I mean, Michael, you were there, Tiger, you probably weren't, but we had this drop and then we had this sideways market.
And there's a couple of trades right before that where it looks like it actually did pretty good on those trades.
Yeah, it was here when it went down and it considered that one. I mean, keep in mind, it just has to basically fit on 80% of that. It did extremely good here. I mean, hitting the low, extremely good here, hitting the low again. Do we have more? I could actually go back here, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, now that we know what this price grid is, maybe we should go back to the evolver and
let's go back to the evolver. It's really fantastic. I mean,
there's plenty of rabbit holes in WealthLab that you could go down and get diverted and spend all of your time investigating.
The price grid. Yeah, but I'm sure. I mean, Michael, you've seen it, and I don't know whether you used it, but
I haven't. Thank you for sharing. It's very interesting. It's another, as you say, it's another long weekend kind of deep dive.
This is one thing that Volker always says from the beginning of WealthLab, from I think WealthLab version 1 back in 2000 when we released that. He always said, "Oh, I want a pattern box where I can drag on the chart and then capture that pattern." And now he finally has it.
Yes, and it's amazing. Well, and you kept on saying you actually said you wanted to do it and too, and
yeah, it was one of those things that was always on the list, and finally just pushed it through and got it done.
In my opinion, this is $1 million tool. This one is $1 million tool because it captures things that your eye thinks it sees it, but it doesn't know what are the results. You get all these people talking about something, but here you can really test it. And I've run my T1 there that you see on the left here, the T1. I run it on different stocks and on different indices, and it was like, wow, it's like, looks good. I mean, it's down and sideways in a up and down modus. That's what it is. Anyway, so yeah, we want to get out of this rabbit hole, but I think I lost my evolver. Here we are. That's the strategy evolver. And
can I ask a couple of questions here on evolver?
Go ahead.
So I was just playing around a little bit just to get ready. I noticed the default evolver filter. If we can look at it,
are you expecting me to do something?
Yeah.
Before? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You have to go into optimization and so that we can see the filter.
Yeah. That's one thing that we definitely want to refactor a little bit going forward, because these filters were the result of creating a filter during an optimization. So the first feature request was, well, I have my optimization, my tabular results. So I don't know, Volker, if you could open up a strategy that you can optimize.
Yep.
Just any strategy that you've optimized in the past.
Okay, let me see. I don't know. Can't remember. My good ones are here.
So maybe Neo Master. I mean, any strategy that has those little gears is ones that can be optimized. So now if you click Optimize, so let's see, you can, let's maybe check the strategy settings. Let's see what it's running on. Maybe run it on a single symbol, so it'll go more quickly. And then if we can optimize that now, just real quick.
I only use 10 years, and I say optimization, and I use it like this. The 14
just you could just start the optimization. It shouldn't take long. So now that the optimization is complete, you could see over here on the right, we have this whole little section where you can create a filter.
Mm-hmm.
So the first suggestion is if that optimization could be, I mean, that we didn't have to take such a long way, right, to get into an optimization in order to find that filter. Maybe there could be a link, from the
Well, right. I mean, because this was where it was first introduced. We do need to pull this out and kind of somehow refactor it and put
Second
it.
Is
we need to do that. We need to divorce it from this optimization UI, but we'll get to that. But for now, Volker, if you go to the bottom where it says filter sets, if you click the drop down there and select the default evolver filter. So this is the filter that the evolver uses.
So my question is, if you click on the metric selection above, which is where you have the list of you won't find the two current variables in the default. So I was wondering, how did you get them in? Oh, you do. Oh, how comes
There's one. The NSF is here. Let me see. The largest bar held. I didn't see the largest bar held.
Well, these are the performance metrics that Volker happens to have selected. An evolver filter might use other metrics. It can use any valid metric.
So you need to first go select performance metrics, and then you can find them here. Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. You need to go to preferences, and then metric columns. Those are the performance metrics, and then you bring in the ones that you use and that you want.
Brilliant.
To see.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. My next question is, I read through the help section, and it talked about you could specify strategies 6 to 10.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Can you show an example?
Yeah, sure. So Volker, if you go to preferences, and then evolver. So the section on the top right is evolver slots 6 through 10. So what you can do is drag a strategy, a building block strategy, into one of those slots. So if you go to your strategies, and let's say, for example, sample strategies, maybe RSI2. I think that's one that will work. Or is that a C# strategy?
No, that's a
no.
C#. Oh, no,
yeah, RSI2 is a building block. So if you drag that into one of the slots, it's now in strategy slot number 8.
Oh, I had it already. Okay, good. I can.
You can right-click, I think, and remove it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now if you open a new evolver window.
New evolver window. A new one?
From the tools menu, yeah.
Yeah.
So now if you click on strategy 8, you'll see that it actually is that RSI2 strategy.
Ah, okay, yeah.
So now it won't work with all building block strategies. There's certain ones that, aren't able to be mapped in that way, but it'll work for, I think, a majority of them. So this way you can set up some templates that you want the evolver to always start with, and it's a way to kind of kickstart it with some strategies that you like.
So
But
it's a combination of some of the strategies you choose plus the rest of the genes.
Well, right. 1 through 5 are always some default templates that we set up. So they'll always be the same 1 through 5. 6 through 10 are customizable by you. And then 11 through 20 are just completely randomized.
Okay, cool.
so you basically picked 1 to 5? Or
1 through 5 are just some standard templates that are just some very basic kind of archetypical trading system ideas.
so I would actually like to make a strategy out of this, because I see it's using an ascending triangle detected, and then it buys and then sells after 6 bars and things like this. So this would be interesting.
Well, if you want to make that a strategy, you could just double click it, or you can click that open window. You could say open it in a new strategy window. There it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
And now we can basically run it on the Dow 30, the past 10 years. We use the DIA as the benchmark. And this was also given, right? That was part of the optimization of the evolver.
Right.
And we can run it now and see how fast it is. See how fast it is. So in principle, we're running now the same, the evolver as a strategy. And then we see an equity curve. And yeah, it's amazing. It's really
very nice.
It is basically following the market. But it is honestly quite impressive, and how easy you can create a strategy out of it. I think that's another thing.
Now, if I were to guess, I would guess that ascending triangle contributed very little. It was probably all that number 2 buy signal there.
Yeah, you see here's the buy at limit below close, and then buy at limit below average price high low, and then you probably don't see anything else.
Well, can we look at the design surface again?
Yep.
So that buy at limit 0% below low is the one that the ascending triangle is using. So we did actually get a few hits from that.
So just maybe we can open one of those McDonald's. Wait, where was that? McDonald's in 24th of October. Here.
So yeah, you can kind of see the ascending triangle there. There's a lower low, and then previous to that a lower low. So that was the triangle there. You see that? And then kind of a horizontal neckline kind of. So, and that green bar is where it penetrated and broke above that ascending triangle. Now, if you had your chart patterns event provider enabled, then you would kind of see these chart patterns annotated on the chart.
Let me see here.
So you'd also have to select it on the right there.
The rectangle?
No, this one was an ascending triangle.
Okay, this one. So I would then, if I run it again, if I just rerun this one,
you probably have to load the data again, because the data is already loaded. But if you go to the bottom where it says 41 symbols loaded, and just
Yeah.
click that. That'll cause it to reload the data. So now if you run it again, it should reload the data, and then we should see those. You need to rerun the backtest again.
Oh, okay, good.
Cause it to reload the data, including the chart pattern stuff.
So let's see whether we see it. We go to open. No, we want to. We had McDonald's here. Yeah. So we see this. This is the part here. Wow, it's a long way. So this was the rectangle?
That was the ascending triangle.
Yeah, that's what I meant, yeah. Interesting.
So there's kind of a horizontal upper line, and the bottom line is kind of slightly inclined up.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the breakout. The kind of the dotted line is showing you the bars after the pattern, and then that green bar is where it broke out above that formation.
Yeah. But I mean, you're right. Most of these trades came from the other one. I mean, this is just a handful. And actually,
right.
Well, yeah, no, not many of them were profitable.
No.
Anyway, so that was just me looking at it and, verifying what did we find and was it actually worthwhile?
Yeah. Here on this list, right? When you let it run for a while, how many? I mean, there's about 10, 15 lines. Is it possible? Is there a log of all the? I mean, this is the selection of the best profit, right? Or best APR lines that were kept to show, but many others were just dismissed because they weren't as good as these, right?
Yeah.
Are there somewhere? Are these in a log or some, where you could have a look?
No, currently they're just gone. Yeah, they're currently not saved anywhere that you could look at them.
What I found, Dion, playing around a little bit is that, when you let it run overnight, right, you get to a point, right, where literally there are almost no improvements anymore. I mean,
right.
Your computer may melt down, but cannot find. and then the ones left pretty much resemble each other.
Yeah, I mean, you get into a situation where the best one that it could possibly find just starts creating minor variations, and then it's very hard then for a random strategy that might get created to compete with that.
So I was wondering, after having spent all the night and afternoon right running on the computer, you don't want to repeat that too many times. However, there might be valuable information in the ones dismissed of other combinations, that did not necessarily use the chart pattern. And, I mean, there's a number of things that are common, right, to the ones displayed at the end of the journey. And there may be other combinations that did not fall into this same pattern, right, that might still be interesting to analyze or to see, given that it took such an effort to get that summary list together. And ultimately, they're all the same in a way, or they're very, similar.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we could save the results of each generation and then have a tool that lets you kind of look through all the old generations. Let's add that as a feature request on our wish list.
Yeah, I mean, I actually changed it to the recovery factor, so that and I let it run again, just to see whether there's a difference. But it actually reduces my. I don't know whether you can hear me clearly. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're coming in as digital voices. So Diego, hi. Yeah, you're mute.
Hi.
No. So Michael was, well, we were floating along here. Let's put it this way. We were floating along. And I don't know whether you had some questions, whether you were the guy about the equity curve. Was that you or was that someone else? Because I think
that was me. That was me about the equity curve, the equity slope.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that was you. So we could possibly talk about that, or if you guys.
Can I have a last quick question on Evolver before we switch over?
Yeah.
Volker, how do you set the strategy settings? Like, for example, the position sizer, whether you're going with a fixed amount or percentile.
The Evolver always uses a percent of equity, and it determines the percentage to use based on the number of symbols in the data set. So if you're running it on one symbol, it'll typically use 100% or something like that. If you're running it on a data set with 10 symbols, maybe it'll use 30%, or it kind of tunes it based on the number of symbols in the data set, and it does mutate that over different generations. So it'll try out different variations of that. So that's one of the parameters that can be modified.
Okay, so it's fixed. I mean, it's hard coded.
Yeah, it's not really something that you have any influence over. It's just part of the whole process of randomly generating these different things and trying out different combinations. You can see the position size on the upper right there. Volker, you see that there where it says position size? Yeah.
8.8.
So that's telling you what it's using.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'm clear. Thank you. I don't have any more questions on Evolver.
And I just, I was just thinking that give maybe Diego the chance to ask a couple of questions, because I was like, I actually thought I saw something interesting just now. But, I mean, all of them are pretty interesting because I was now going by the recovery factor. And, so it just consider a little bit of the drawdown into everything.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, look at this 3-day moving average crosses under the 19-day. Okay, I'm not going into moving averages. I don't believe in them anyway. So, but I think I saw something just now with an RSI, and I cannot find it anymore. I think the Evolver took it out.
Yeah, it probably didn't pass your default Evolver filter.
I thought it was so good, but
you could turn off the filter. You could uncheck that. Just uncheck the box there where it says use filter set.
Okay.
Now it'll keep everything.
Yeah, because it probably because the filter set was, I think it shouldn't have a certain amount of NSFs, right?
Yeah, it's NSFs, and it's also any single one trade should not contribute more than a certain percentage of the total profit.
Okay.
So that prevents like certain lucky trades from happening, like maybe in the beginning that account for too much of the overall profit.
Yeah. I hear you. Makes sense. It's actually it's not just I mean, it's a great tool and it finds strange things, and it's also there's also some filters in that maybe even newbies wouldn't consider, like I can't remember what it was. I think it was Monster, because we had a strategy. If any strategy that I don't know whether Monster is still in the NASDAQ, but if you backtest only on the survivors on the 100 and Monster is in it, and you bought it at the beginning and kept it all the way up, Monster would have been made about 40% of the whole equity profit. So that was an interesting thing because I know I did a test once and I was like, wow, where did that come from? And it was basically just that one trade. And that's basically what Dion was saying, right? It shouldn't be that one trade that makes the big difference.
Yeah, the default evolver filter should have kicked out that strategy then if it had that metric.
Yeah. So you see how it takes the PriceGrid confidence factor to 66 down to 66. Amazing. It must do a lot of work in the background here. You know, that's just amazing. So Tego, do you have any questions actually?
Not now. Not now. I will have to deal with it and experiment a little, and then I will ask the questions. Probably in the questions.
So then, Volker, maybe we should maybe let's close this out and let's go to your. Do you still have that optimization window open or no? Here, yeah. So let's look at these. Let's look at what this default evolver filter is doing. So can you increase the size of that filter column so we can see?
You mean here? No.
No, the column where it says current filter. So the current filter box is showing you what's in the current filter.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, let's make that column a little bigger so we could see exactly what it's doing. So it's using these two metrics. NSF ratio has to be less than 2, and largest bars held as a percent of the history has to be less than 20. So it's actually not the profit. It's the number of bars held. So if one position is held for basically the 20% of the whole history or more, then it doesn't include that. So maybe we should go to your preferences and drag that metric over in your metrics column.
Which one? The recovery factor? No?
No, you already have NSF ratio, the other one. Average bars held as a percent of history. It's like number 4 up there.
Yeah.
That one, yeah. Let's drag that one over just so we can see it. And now maybe if you open up a new evolver window.
Yep.
And you already have the filter unchecked. Let's just run a few generations without the filter and let's see what kind of results we get. So this will not exclude any of the strategies. So it's not applying the default evolver filter. We may get some really nice looking results, but because it's not filtering them, it may, be some problems there. Let's see.
And I'm still doing
That's okay.
Again.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, this one looks good. Buy at stop below the average price, high low. Is it high low close close?
Yeah. So that was the top one. So let's can you scroll to the right a little? Let's see what those metrics are for this one.
1 second, let me.
No, the scroll bar on the bottom, can you scroll that? Because I want to see the other metrics. So the NSF ratio is only 0.82 and the average bars held is only 0.31. So it would have kept that one anyway.
Yeah. It would have not kept the second one, right?
No, it would have because the value is, the cutoff is 20 and that's only 8.
20, okay, good. So, wow, yeah, the results actually look for some reason better. I don't know, but probably it was the random picking.
Yeah, yeah, you just randomly happen to get a good one there.
I mean, you can see that all the results all of a sudden get closer, higher than 200,000. Again, I would look at the recovery profit factor, because I mean, considers the drawdown as well.
So why don't let's stop it now on this generation. And then let's take a look at those last two columns, the NSF ratio and the average bars held as a percent of history. So we're actually not really getting any strategies here that the filter would have rejected. So that's fortuitous for this run. But yeah, you could get into situations, like I said, where the evolver happens to buy like a stock at the very beginning of its history, and it just, like, maybe it buys Apple like back in 2000, and it just holds it for the whole history, resulting in most of the profit for that run. So that evolver filter would kind of kick out that strategy, since it's not really kind of buying and selling. So that's kind of the point of that evolver filter. But so let's see. Yeah, you've got some pretty decent APR in this run.
Yeah, this has well, actually, no, I just had a better one. I actually sorted by APR. This had a profit factor of only 1.46. So how is that possible? It has a maximum drawdown of 6%. I think this is, that's interesting. Why is this can you run it real quick?
Sure.
I think it should be good. The one thing is that everyone has to remember, this is really pure optimization. So, there's a lot of optimization going on here. And yeah, this is actually not as good as the buy and hold. What is the buy and hold here? Well, that's the Q. Obviously, the Qs has been better. To run it again. But there has been a lot of optimization. Oh, and I see these hundreds and 2,400 again, Dion.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, so I mean, this is the strategy, and it doesn't beat buy and hold. It beats it probably a little bit by drawdown, but not really. But it was the best system in the evolver. So
I don't think it was the best one.
Oh, was not? Okay.
No.
Then
yeah, go back to the evolver.
Yeah. Is that the one? Yeah.
So there's plenty. I mean, that one only had a 6.6 APR. We have a 13.5 there at the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's definitely. Oh yeah, that's definitely a better one. So let's go. If I open this and let it run, but again, this is a highly optimized. So you would have to see in the optimization tool, you have to see whether the figures are all stable around the sell after 6 bars and things like this. So there we go. And again, I probably have this Qs. But yeah, that's an APR of 13.68. It has probably some NSFs. Yeah, pretty high number. Well,
yeah. 0.8 is the ratio, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, half of them. But usually it stays pretty stable along there. But that's probably not an equity curve that would make you scream, right? You know, it basically follows the buy and hold. So it's not an exciting one, but it might be a starting point. That's for sure.
So yeah, so that's the Evolver. What do you think? Any other final questions to wrap things up?
It's an excellent tool.
So the Evolver is based on all the available indicators and all the available type of trading.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it does exclude some of them that are kind of flagged as, you know, taking a long time to run. But yeah, basically it'll pull in all of the available indicators.
Yeah, yeah, and in order to run faster, can I select the sort of indicator I like or I use more often?
Not at the moment. That's not one of the capabilities, but we can consider that. If you want to submit a feature request, we can get that on the wish list for something we could add in the future.
Okay. Because it looks very, very interesting, but I usually use just a couple of indicators, and some of them very very special, like Schaffer indicator. So I think it would make things simpler.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for expansion here in the Evolver. It's pretty bare bones right now. We can definitely add a lot in the way of customization. And yeah, let's get these items logged in our wish list, and you know, people will vote on them, and then we'll work on them.
Yeah, actually, what I did just now, I did basically an out of sample testing because I did load the Evolver results here that we had, because we tested the past 10 years, and I actually ran it for the from 2000 to 2010, and it wasn't doing great. You know, you don't want to be, you know, going sideways for 10 years, but it was also not going as far down as the overall market did. So
yeah, that is interesting. It handily outperformed the market during that rough period.
Yeah. So I was just doing this out of sample running. Yeah. So I think we can wrap it up. We went a couple of ways, but the Evolver is definitely interesting, and it gives a lot of room, and it gives you an immediately idea, and you can use it then and you know, work with it and change it and do things. So it's quite interesting because it doesn't have to be 9.74% as a profit target. You know, what if you use 10% or only 9%? I like to see the optimization values to be stable, and not 9.74 was the best, and then 10 is down here. I'm like, 10 is here, and whatever, 9 is even further down. So that's always something. Parameter stability testing, that's what optimization is for me. Good. So guys, thanks for joining, signing up.
Thank you. Good job. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks for attending, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for being there. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.